Welcome to the Sports Show. I'm Andy Marks.
And I'm Byron Saucer.
Here we are at the end of the regular season. We only have 2 games left. There's a few teams whose seasons are over, and the 2 games that are happening are not they're not relevant to the postseason, but certainly in the case of Forest versus Vanguard, anytime that happens, it's a big game.
Yeah, I mean, this rivalry dates back to 1971, and anybody that's from Ocala either played or coached or has certainly seen one of these games, and stories abound around this county. So Forest comes into this one leading the series 18-17-1, which is not bad over the years. And Hodge is 2-0 against Vanguard, but he'll be put to the test against, I guess, the best Knights team he's seen. Certainly.
Yeah, absolutely. And, to me, the big question in this game is how is Vanguard going to handle the game? They've got a huge playoff game next week at Denellen.
Right.
They got to be healthy and ready for that game. But then on the other side of the coin, you can't march out your JV team when you're playing against Forest High School because it means too much to these kids. So I don't know, what kind of effort are you expecting from, not that they wouldn't try,
right,
but is this going to be a playoff type of environment where both teams want blood and guts, or is Vanguard going to be looking ahead to that huge game against Denellen?
Well, I talked to Alex Castaneda earlier today, and this is actually his 16th time coaching in this rivalry, and he made no bones about it. They're coming out guns a-blazing. He's not planning on resting any starters, none of that. He says this is as big a game on their schedule. They have not watched any Denellen tape, one game at a time, the whole thing. So out of that camp, they're saying Forest is the only thing on their mind, and I'm sure they would like to kind of complete the turnaround by getting the Forest monkey off their back as well.
Well, if that's the case, if Castaneda's not bluffing and he's going to go full steam, then I like Vanguard in this game. I watched Vanguard beat up Bellevue to get into the playoffs last week. They look good. Leo Burgess is a fine running back. He can hit you. He can run away from people. He's got all the moves. He follows the plays. He is a great running back for that program, a really good running back, period. I expect to see him in a college program next year. And at quarterback, Quentin Hitchcock has really come into his own. He's making the throws that he needs to make. They're making plays. They're moving the ball down the field. He loves to throw the deep balls to Tykeem Platt, who's a worthy receiver. So if Vanguard is in this to win it, and not in it just to stay healthy and make a solid effort and then start thinking about the playoffs, then I'm going to take Vanguard. I'm going to say 17-7. In my mind, Forest has never quite found an offensive identity this season after they lost Zach Welch so early. They finally gave their junior varsity quarterback a shot last week so they could get their converted quarterback back out into the offense where he belongs. We'll see. We'll see what they can do against the Vanguard defense.
Yeah, and I think you're right. On paper, Vanguard looks like the play here. I talked to David Hodges as well, and he's readily admits they're still searching for an offensive identity, this late in the season. But the defense is pretty salty. I think they can stay in this game, and I think maybe Devin Roberts in the return game, or maybe James Brooks can get the ball in space, which he's had a tough time doing against these stacked boxes. Maybe they can get it out to him in space. I think a big play and some good defense gets Forest through. I'll take the Wildcats 14-13.
And it's a nice opportunity for Forest senior class to go out with a win if they can. And it's a class that has done a good job of turning this program around since Hodges took over. They had a tough go of it this year, but they've competed hard. It's a good program. And with that being said, let's move on to the strike zone, where Bellevue also has a season finale. Like Forest, Bellevue is not playing for anything other than trying to get themselves pointed into the right direction headed into the offseason. They've got a Mount Dora team coming in. Mount Dora took a beating at the hands of Trinity Catholic last week. But, I had heard from a Trinity Catholic coach that came away pretty impressed with the Mount Dora team, thought they were a solid team. And that being said, Bellevue, it's been a struggle. I did see Bellevue last week against Vanguard, and they do have some playmakers. Cameron Mitchell can break it on you, and Colton Howell's got a good arm. Alex DeLeon, we all know about him. He's a Division I tight end.
Right.
And Anton Thornton, another big play running back. If Mount Dora comes in sleeping after missing their own chance at the playoffs, Bellevue can win this game. I think Mount Dora is going to have the more talent, though, so I'm going to take them on the road. I'm going to say 35-14.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Bellevue could really use a boost to take something positive into the offseason. They could certainly use a win at home tonight. But I think you're also right in that Mount Dora does have some talent. And
so let's play that back.
I know, right. I know it. Yeah. Now, you are wrong on the wrong end of the season stats, but we'll get to that. But I also like the Hurricanes in this one. I think they have a little too much, but I think it'll be close, 24-20.
Okay, and we finally also have a conference championship game for St. John, which has completely turned their season around. They started out struggling, got blown out a few times. It seems like they've been on the other end of those blowouts for the last several weeks in a row. Now they get a revenge game against one of those early season teams that blew them out, Canterbury. So the question is, how much have they improved since then?
Well, we're going to find out Saturday night, 7 o'clock at the Villages. We'll find out exactly how much the Saints have improved, because this Canterbury team hung a lopsided loss on them early in the season. But they have a nice core over there. Ryan Roach at quarterback, Jared Adams at linebacker, Michael O'Hanrahan and Caleb Alexander at running back. I mean, they have some guys that can get it done. Unfortunately, I don't know if they have enough guys to get it done. A lot of these kids play both ways and all day. So I'm going to take Canterbury in this one, 35-14.
Okay, I'll pick Canterbury also. I think it'll be maybe a little closer. I'll give them a 2-touchdown margin. Good turnaround for St. John. A good strong year for Coach Minier and his gang, getting the ship righted after some early struggles. So, boy, a conference championship, which would be their version of a state championship because they're not in the FHSAA. It'd be a wonderful, wonderful way to close the season. So let's talk really briefly about our picking situation that you alluded to. I was, after you killed me last year, I was sitting on a lead for most of this year, with the exception of a couple weeks when we were tied. You got me on 2 different games last week, and now you're beating me by 1, and I got to scramble here in the playoffs to try and catch up.
Well, we're on opposite sides of Forest-Vanguard, so we could go in like we came in. So
even you're rooting for me. That says something about my lowly status here. So let's talk about a couple other things real quick. We are having a huge volleyball event happening on Saturday in this county, and it really marks a rocket ship paced turnaround for Vanguard High School's program.
And I know we talked about it a lot in football this year, but certainly the same can be said of Jason Morris and his staff over there at Vanguard with the volleyball team. They're playing in the region final 2 o'clock Saturday, hosting Hudson. They win this one, they're in the Final Four. It's just amazing. I mean, I talked to Holly Pohl after they won the district, and she was a part of that team that was, I think, 1 in 23 when she was a freshman 2 years ago, and now here they are. So and Holly Pohl's something to see. I don't know if how many volleyball fans we have out there, but you don't really have to know the game to see this athlete. I mean, she's something else. I mean, she really is.
And I haven't been to one of these playoff volleyball games, but I've heard from several different places that it's a high energy, exciting environment.
It really is.
And like you said, it's not something where you have to know volleyball, be a huge volleyball fan. It's more just about this community emerging as a player in the volleyball scene, and us having a legitimate team here that's going to make a run at the Final Four. And it's something that everybody I think can get behind. Even some of those other schools like Bellevue that Vanguard had to struggle to get by in their own district. Sure. Even those kids at Bellevue, I think, are going to be there rooting the Knights on. So good luck to them. Everybody get out and watch your seniors. Those of you at the 4 schools who are playing on Friday night this week, and we will be back to talk about it on Monday.